We are so excited to be joined by Indrani Kopal, who is a documentary filmmaker, and she is here to talk a little bit about her most recent documentary, The Game Changer. It is an official selection for the Portland Film Festival and the 9th annual Harlem International Film Festival. I know she's very excited about that. And also the We Speak Here Culture Unplugged Film Festival. So we are really excited to get to know what Indra has been up to, what the film is about, and what she has going on, in the future, because this girl never really sleeps. She always has a new project on the horizon. So welcome, Indra. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you for having me. Hi,
and
Eric.
With all of these great places that you're going, it makes us feel good that you decided to stop into our little show this morning.
We do.
On 88.7 FM Radio Hofstra University. And Indra, so the film itself,
Yes.
the name of the film and what it's about. Can you tell the audience?
Okay. The film is called The Game Changer. The title is coined by one of the men who I interviewed in the films. That's usually how we get the titles, and I thought it was such an apt title for Susan Slotnick, who is the main character of the documentary. And it's actually a very ambitious project. Even as she's my professor said, Indrani, this project is huge. You're just doing a school project. So I know. See, my background is I was a video journalist back in Malaysia for 6 years. I was attached to an alternative news organization. And one of the professor from George Washington University came down and saw one of my very average documentaries. Indrani, you should apply for Fulbright and go to U.S. Going to U.S. is not in my plan. So long story short, and I came for a fellowship program at GW and then just saw the different scene of documentary, which I've never seen back home. And I knew I have to come back here. And 2 years later, 2012, I applied for Fulbright scholarship and I received it. And here I am doing my master's in documentary.
Now, you might not believe this, but The Game Changer, of course, the subject is men who are in prison.
Yes.
And how they are kind of releasing their tension, their frustration through
Yes.
dance, and using that as a way to this art as a way to be creative and as a creative outlet.
Absolutely.
I was actually just thinking the other day. I'm totally serious, and you're already laughing at me. But the other day I was thinking, I wonder about the possibility of doing like a radio show or like a podcast for people who are in prison. So how did these people start this dance program there,
Yes.
Miss Slotnick and everything? How did this come to be?
Okay. Susan actually goes to the prison under an organization umbrella called Rehabilitation Through Arts, RTA. They basically run close to about 8 to 9 programs, all related to arts, theater, poetry, dance, and you just name it, everything. And the dance program is just one of the unique programs that Susan proposed personally, and they wasn't buying this idea. Men in prison dancing? No way. She said, just give me a chance. Just give me 2 classes, and I'll prove you wrong. And she did. 7 years she's been walking in there and out, and for free every Sunday, never failed. She's been going there, and these men, all the macho tough guys, and say, I'm not dancing, doing the plie like a ballet students. 1 class. The thing is, that you must understand, she doesn't just teach dance. First of all, they all sit in a circle and they talk about the philosophy of attention. That's what she calls it. She calls it the philosophy of attention. Attention equals to love. So she basically teaches them first how to pay attention, how to be present, and this whole thing then leads to the dance. And they just got hooked up. And it's all about expressing themselves. It's about being masculine at the same time, being expressive and not be afraid of it, not be shy about it. Yeah.
Right, and that was one thing that popped to my mind first when I saw the trailer and started watching the film, was that you picture men who are imprisoned for whatever crime as being kind of these overly masculine, macho, like I can't show any sign of weakness.
Yeah.
But dance, it seems like they figure out throughout the course of going through the program, dance is not a form of weakness. Well, for one, it's fantastic exercise. And when you look at professional dancers, those are people who are in shape more than everyone except for professional athletes, I would say. But, for them personally to take that step and to go into something that could be seen as weakness in that situation is just very impressive to me.
Absolutely. It wasn't easy even for the men. I've interviewed some of them. I've been doing this over a year, the whole interviewing and filming with them. So one of the things that Andre, you'll be seeing him in the next installation that I'm making, that he said, Indrani, when we first started, everybody was making fun of us. They're calling it, where's your tutus and where's your, they just call you names and stuff and CC and everything. And then they had a in-house performance. And they performed Amazing Grace and each other. And men started crying, and next thing you know, the enrollment for the dance program just spiked, and it's just amazing, After that, they gained respect both from the administrators, from the warden, and everybody else from the prison itself. And it was a challenge. It wasn't easy, absolutely, no, yeah.
Where is this taking place, Indra? Where is the prison, and where is Susan live?
So this is a Woodburns Correctional Facility. It's a medium security prison in
Upstate New York.
In upstate New York, yeah. And I did not get any permission to go in because I was a student. I was denied access to anywhere near the prison. And even the rehabilitation through arts, the big umbrella program, they said, you're a student. I mean, no. They were very protective of the men. They do not want anyone to come in and ask for the crimes and exploit them. They're just not interested in talking to any media or any students per se. So it was so hard for me to get through Susan for close to a month. Found her in Facebook.
That's often the way it goes nowadays.
I know. And she's like, who is this woman adding me? I have no comment. So it took a while to add me back, and she's asking, who are you? I said, Susan, I know you, but you don't know me. This is my project. We need to meet. Okay, come to New Paltz. A year from then, from last June, I've been traveling to New Paltz every day from Hampstead, take a bus from the Greyhound bus, 3 hours up to New Paltz, do the shooting, come back. That's been the routine now. Yeah.
Now, were you ever given access to the prison, or
Never.
So you were only able to use footage that other people use? So as a filmmaker, how difficult was that? I've worked in video journalism, and knowing that when I've had to use shots that other people shot on a news story, it just makes it harder because I have my vision of what I want to see.
Absolutely.
How was it for you?
Susan shot all that for me. So she's big on video. So thank God. She has this small little camera. A camera work sucks, but who cares? She just points and shoots it. That's all I need. I need some glimpse of them inside. But my story is basically, so it was so big that I have to split it into two because every one of them are such a strong character. And Susan herself is a strong character. So I thought she personally deserved a separate piece for herself. So that's what the Game Changer all about. It's about her. And you have to watch it to know how it was. It was very simply told. Really, it's about Susan. And my thesis documentary, and it's not even thesis documentary, already making festival grounds. Can you imagine the kind of pressure it gives me? Right? Oh my God. So my thesis, which I'm currently still filming, it's called The Incarcerated Rhythm. It's about all 6 men separately, just about them taking, so what happens, what's life after dance? So that's how I'm looking at it from. So dance is one part of it. You have an access to society, changes the identity, changes how they look at you. But how are you? Is your struggle still the same? They still struggle to get jobs, to get housing, to meet people, but it's a lot easier than just coming out as a former offenders.
Right. And when you talk about life after their life after they began dancing, these are men who are in prison now. Can you tell us a little bit about the men who are featured in the film? I mean, are they in prison for the rest of their lives, or are there requirements for them to be in the program that they're taking part in? What can you tell us about them?
These characters who I'm featuring in my documentary, all of them actually got released. So I'm only telling stories of 6 men the first 6 men who got out of
so
the
they're
prison.
already out. Okay.
All 6 of them got out, and they're the first batch from the dancers inside prison to come out. And then for me, it's an experimental thing because, so you've been learning dance for 7 years inside with everybody else. Now come out, how's life changed? So that's what I'm looking at. And dance has a huge impact. People, they're getting standing ovation at every single performance. They performed at 92 Y Street. I mean, you name it. Every places they go. It's actually giving them a new identity, giving them a new, making society people too easy to accept them. They no longer see them as criminals. They see them as artists. They have a brand new identity, which helps them to get through the whole thing. And then they're also staying out of trouble because of this. It's amazing what it does to them. Some of them got married, they got a good job, they found a house, and it's just changing their life rapidly. And it's all happening right in front of my eyes, and it's just amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did you decide that this was going to be the subject? How did it come to you? How did you find Susan?
when I first came in 2012 fall and talking about preparing as a Fulbright, I was listing down topics already what to do for my thesis. So I had about 15 topics, and rehabilitation was one of them. And of course we go to magazines and everything. And I read an article wrote by Susan herself comparing this program, because this is the only unique program in Northeast America, and there's this program for women but not for men. So she was comparing this with the famous Filipino dance, the Thriller. If you remember the Thriller video.
The Thriller video, right.
Exactly. She was comparing it how it's actually, Thriller video actually, that prison was violating human rights.
Because they were forcing them to do that.
Exactly. So she was comparing it, how this is so much different than that. And that article, what led me to Susan, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and for those who don't know about that, you can go and find it on YouTube. And it was filmed at a prison in the Philippines where they reenacted Michael Jackson's Thriller video with all of the choreography with a few hundred prisoners. But as Indra just pointed out, it was forced. They didn't have an option. This wasn't a program that they were interested in. It was do this or else, because we want to make a viral video, which seems an odd thing, at least in our country, for a prison to be doing. But it became pretty popular, and people thought, oh, how cute, until you started looking into the background of it and finding out what was going on.
Interesting. So tell us also about how this works. When you started to meet Susan and you started to meet these men, did you begin with the camera? What's your process like?
Funny you say that, Rebecca. It's first and foremost, it's all about gaining trust. They look at you like, what do you want? It's like, why are you here? Are you trying to make a film for, it can be perceived very differently, and I completely understand if they got it. And so it took me a while to break the ice with Susan, really, because it was through Susan that I have to meet the rest of the men, and I have to gain her trust first. So it was a very slow process, and I have to make frequent visits and talk to her and then convince her. And you see, what happened is we had a lot of other people were trying to come in and tell the story, but everybody was asking, what's the men's crime? What's their crime? And at some point she said, I don't want you to ask their crimes at all. So that was, and it became a debate, so should we say the crime or not, and I think journalistically it should be mentioned, and ethically, I don't know. It's a very subjective question. So I gained her trust by saying that this film will not get out unless you give me a pass. And just trust me, I have some experience. I think I know what I'm doing. Just give me a chance and see how it goes. And so she loved it. She watched it 100 times? I have no idea. She's just sweet. She's just amazing, yeah.
And for the you talk about the crimes, and people, the viewers are probably wanting to know what the crimes were, but does it really matter is the thing that we have to look at, that's not the story here. It's not about what was done in the past, but what they're doing now and how it can change their future.
Exactly. You see, you can always go up and look up the crimes because it's available for public, but I think one of the news actually featured the crime, and some of the people say, we do not want to know the crime on purpose because we want to accept them already. We want to look past their past, and you got to give us some chance to do that. If you force that information on us. So that's the first time I came across this whole term, like, you're forcing an information. I'm a journalist, and I had no idea people actually feel this way about forcing an information onto them. So as a filmmaker, now I can make choice to actually to decide what I want in it. I don't have to be objective. That pressure off my shoulder, being a filmmaker, as opposed to being a journalist before. So I think I'll definitely remain as a filmmaker than going back to journalism. I think that's a choice that I've very consciously made after all this process.
Right. And looking at the men, as you said, the ones featured in the film have all been released. So we're not talking about the worst of the worst, the most hardened criminals. What are the requirements for people who want to be a part of the program, for the inmates who are interested in the program?
Actually, the inmates, the dancers inside themselves, they will do interviews. They have this whole recruitment process. It becomes so professional in there. Right. You have to pass. You have to show interest. You cannot miss classes. You have to show that you are here because you have to be committed. And I think they have certain requirements. One of it is, I don't know. Actually, I yet to find out about the requirements. I know the men actually do the interview.
Wow.
And, And I don't know. Yeah.
I think I saw on that there is a website for the film, which we'll also talk about. But on the website, I think it did say that they have to be within 7 years of release, so they have to be getting out. I mean, basically, this isn't. We're not looking at murderers who are in prison for the rest of their life taking part in this program, from what I understand, are we?
No, the reason why I don't know, because I know Susan will be open to everybody. So Susan has certain requirements, which is like, I want everybody in it if possible. I want to teach dance. Everybody should have equal opportunity. So that's impression that I was in until I met Andre. I said, no, we actually have a certain passes. And so we yet to dwell into it because I still have 4 months to do one-on-one interview. So these are information that I don't really gather in advance. I wait till the one-on-one interviews. So I still have another 3 or 4 months filming with them. So a lot of things I'm still discovering about them, about the whole process and everything. Yes.
And with that process still being in place but already being selected for film festivals, which is so impressive. And that the film is not yet completed. So I see the look on your face, which unfortunately the radio audience can't, but it's a look of, I know, I've got to have this ready to go. So tell us about that pressure that you're feeling right now and how it is when you're not even done with a project, but people are so excited about it that they're putting it in these massive film festivals.
So what happened is, you are required to do 2 projects in MFA to qualify to do a thesis. I was so excited. I finished 2 before the advanced course came in. So unlike other students, I already have 2 in bag, but I still have to do an advanced project. So what I told my professors are, can I just split my thesis into 2 because it's really huge. I could come up with a feature in this topic. So can I do a 2 short documentaries out of it? Because I can. One is about Susan, another one is about the men. So the Game Changer focused. It was done for my fall 2013 project. So it's supposed to be a school assignment, really. So it wasn't meant to go anywhere. So Susan was featured for that. And then the thesis is about all 6 of them. So this is the first time working with multiple characters. So it's a very new territory for me. So the filming is still going on with the men. So Game Changer, then it was so well done, apparently. So I said, Indrani, try festivals. I submitted a few, and if there's one festival that I want people to watch the Game Changer, it should be the Harlem Festival. I was rooting for the Harlem, man. We got Harlem. We got into Harlem.
Amazing.
International Film Festival. This is huge because you know why? All the men are from Manhattan. They're from Bronx, and everybody will be there for the screening. Portland, Oregon is amazing. Susan and I are going, but the men won't be there. So it's just... it's going to be screened in New York. I can't ask for more.
It is pretty fantastic. Local boys making good after making bad and going to prison. So it really shows quite a turnaround in their lives.
Yeah. So we were talking just a minute ago about how the film might be received here in New York. I'm curious about how you feel your work will be received at home in Malaysia. Is there talk about what you've done so far?
There's a huge viral sharing going on in Facebook. My friends back home, my bosses, my former colleagues, everybody's excited. Right. I feel so shy to post anything.
No, please.
No, really. It's like I posted after our news bulletin featured the story yesterday. It's like 16 shares and 100 something likes overnight.
Wow.
I'm very humbled.
I was going to say, for our audience, this is a very humble host we have, but she's incredible. So please don't be afraid to share.
And she is, of course, Indrani Kopal. I'm sorry, I merged your names together there. Who's a documentary filmmaker whose film, The Game Changer, is being featured and selected for various film festivals, including the Harlem Film Festival and out someplace on the West Coast. We don't worry too much about those guys. But very fascinating stuff and interesting stuff. And Indrani, if people are interested in the film, where can they go to find out more about it? Is there a website? I know there's a trailer on YouTube. I watched that first off yesterday. So
thank you. Yes, you can actually go to indranikopal.com. This is my webpage, and there's the MFA, Hofstra's MFA projects tab alone, and you'll find all my 4 projects there. And Game Changer has a separate tab, and you'll find all the information you need about Game Changer there.
Right. Yeah. And there is, if you search for Game Changer on YouTube, you can find the trailer there. You can find so much on this amazing film that Indrani is working on. And we want to thank you so much for coming on this morning and telling us so much about it. You've really been fantastic.
Thank you, Indrani.
Thank you so much, both of you, for having me. Thank you.
It's been our pleasure.